Hello, and welcome to episode 98 of the Inventive Marketing Club. We're here every week to help you build a better marketing strategy. On this week, we've got our open club. So we're joined by a guest, and they're going to talk about how they are marketing themselves, show us their website, and maybe talk through some of the issues they've got, and hopefully we can help them. So today, I'm joined by Aaron from the Carrington Guitar Academy. Hello, Aaron. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Ben. Thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. So we met at a workshop. Was it a Growth Hub workshop you came along, or Cool Ventures? I can't remember which one. I do so many different ones now.
Yeah, I came to you through Cool Ventures. It was an online workshop that we did. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that was ace. And so I think you came on the SEO workshop, and so got to meet you through that. And I think we actually did a short review of your site during that. And as part of my workshops, I offer to anyone, if you want a free review and you want to spend a bit more time talking about these things, come on our club. And you took up that offer. So thank you, Aaron. Do you want to first, before we start having a look at your site and talking about your marketing, just give us a little bit of a background about who you are, what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Aaron Carrington, hence the name Carrington Guitar Academy for my guitar teaching business. And I'm a musician and guitar teacher. So I've been playing the guitar about 22 years, doing gigs for 18 years and teaching for about 16 years. But most of my teaching work has always been through other people. And this is the first time I've really started my own business. I went to the Middle East last year for 8 months. I was playing in residency bands 6 nights a week, 3 hours a night. Absolutely loved it. But I sort of vowed to myself that when I got back into the UK, to Bath, I wanted to finally kind of start my own business. And the thing that made the most sense was to follow my passion for music, follow my passion for teaching.
Excellent. So how has that been going? So tell me about some of the things that you've been doing to promote your business since you started it.
So I started the business back in December, which at this point is just over 6 months. And my main forms of marketing have been the website itself. But actually getting the word out there, I've been doing door-to-door flyering. I've been putting posters up in local businesses, flyering local businesses, and also using Facebook ads. I've tried sort of static text on Facebook ads, which didn't perform too well, but I've also tried Facebook video ads. And by the time I got to my second Facebook video ad, I was getting some results. I was getting some leads, still having trouble converting enough leads into students. Obviously, it's difficult to know exactly what to charge and that kind of stuff, and it's difficult. It's also a process of learning your own value as well, and knowing that what you offer is different or better, or why it's different and why it's better, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and that does take time and confidence. I certainly remember when I started, certainly a previous business back in 2001, you take any work that you could, because you're kind of finding your feet, and at some point over time you become much more confident about what you should be charging and what feels like a fair rate. So yeah, it does certainly take time. You experimented with some different sources of marketing. You've obviously tried some online Facebook advertising and some in-person flyering. What's worked best for you? Can you talk about which channels have worked best? Has it been those flyers that you hand out, or has it been the sort of more the marketing online, which you can measure more? What works best for you?
When I look at the results, I certainly seem to get a lot more leads from Facebook. But when someone does call you about your flyer, they do tend to be very, very interested, because it's something that's come directly to them through their door. So it's, even though the return on, you might do 1,000 flyers and get 2 inquiries or something like that. I mean, it's very, very low. It's depressingly low. But I think they're both equally as effective, although I know at this point, being new, I'm not using them to their full extent, if that makes sense. I know I'm not getting as much out of them as I probably could be, say, in 6 months or a year's time.
Mm-hmm. Have you do you sort of utilize the people you have got, the customers you have made? Do you sort of use their network to get more work through referrals?
A couple of times I've rolled out a refer a friend scheme. That hasn't got anything back yet.
Right.
So that's difficult. I've also, in terms of other marketing, I've got a bunch of Google reviews. I'm up to 11 Google reviews now, which is all very positive. In fact, it was just yesterday I was emailing other local music teachers. And so what I'm doing is offering a financial incentive to any local teachers who want to refer me a guitar student. Obviously, I'm not getting in touch with guitar teachers because they're going to keep those students for themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
You'd think they would, but piano teachers and saxophone teachers and whatever else. And actually managed to make friends with a local guy who builds guitars. So I went and visited his workshop yesterday. I got some business cards from him, and also gave him my website links and phone number and all that kind of stuff. And
That's good. So building partnerships.
yeah,
Excellent.
and also I went into the local piano shop as well, and so I've written a blog post for his website, and he's going to post that up at some point this week. He's going to kind of tweak
Ah,
it, so it fits in with his style. But yeah, so I'll have a blog post up on his website. So that's another local partnership, and
well,
he sells pianos, but he's actually looking for guitar lessons himself. So who knows?
brilliant.
He's
So,
booked in with a teacher already, but he says, "Oh, this is interesting," sort of thing. So we'll see.
oh, that's really good. And so not only you've got that partnership there, so potential referrals and work directly, but also moving things online. So potentially getting a backlink from their website as well. Very
Yes.
useful. Have you done that with any of the other partnerships? Any other people you've been sort of reaching out to? So the other
So
teachers.
I'm actually part of an online program at the moment which teaches guitar teachers how to build their businesses. And there's with a guy in Melbourne Guitar Academy, Melbourne in Australia. And I do believe I've got a backlink on his website, or I'm due a backlink on his website.
Mhm.
But through that program, I have got a backlink with a blog on somebody else's website who is the Southern Ohio Academy of Music. So we've exchanged blog posts as well. So that's another little thing that's happened, as well as all kind of signing up on all the classifieds as well online, all of the directories, and sometimes accidentally paying for them as well, which seems to be very easy to do with some of these online directories. But
Yeah,
yeah, I've got a few
I mean
links there.
sometimes it's worth it if sometimes the backlink is powerful enough. It might be worth doing. There's some that if they're only 10-20 pounds, maybe it's certainly worth looking at
Yeah,
for that.
it's a good point.
I was thinking more with the other teachers that you're meeting, and ask if they would
Hmm.
refer, whether there's a way for you to almost build a network of them, and then you can have that on your website. So you can have like other teachers, other musical instrument teachers on there, have a page dedicated to that, and have little profiles of them, and encourage them to do the same on their websites. Perhaps might be quite good.
Yeah,
And then
it's an interesting point. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's about the backlinks are useful just purely from an SEO perspective. Other websites recommending you in a common theme. They're all based around music and teaching, so very hyper relevant links, hopefully good quality as well. But also, it's about just meeting those people. I find just building partnerships with other companies is so strong. So you're definitely doing the right thing there, and it's actually an area of marketing I think a lot of people don't think about too much. They'll reach for social media as the first thing, but
Hmm.
that's really hard work.
Well,
Actually,
actually, it's funny. It's funny you should mention that. Sorry to interrupt you. I've
no,
actually
go
been
ahead.
building. I mean, I have actually got a YouTube channel from a few years ago, and I don't post
Excellent.
to it much anymore. And that's got just over 1,000 subscribers. So
Oh,
there's a
well
mild
done.
interest. Yeah, there's a mild interest in that. I've got about 90 videos on there, and they're all like guitar
Do you
tutorials.
have
Now
that linked
that
on here?
I don't, and the reason I don't is because I want people to be thinking about the lessons, not thinking about the YouTube stuff. I think I don't want to direct people away from the website, in case they get lost in a sort of a rabbit hole of YouTube and then forget about me.
Easily done.
But also, what I have been concentrating on social media wise is Instagram, and I've actually kind of had some moderate success with Instagram. So
Brilliant.
so
Okay.
last month I managed to generate 132 followers on there, and all the stuff on there is specific to beginner guitar players. And so I post a reel and a story every day, and it's just one tip that says, "Did you know this about the guitar? Do you know how you can make this easier? Have you tried
Brilliant.
doing this with a certain chord?" Just a bite-sized tip to help people out.
And so you're obviously getting engagement. Are you monitoring traffic coming onto your websites? You starting to see people coming in from Instagram onto your website? They're actually searching you out.
The people don't generally seem to click through to the website from
Hmm.
Instagram. So
Yeah, it's hard because you only get that link on the profile page.
yes, that's it.
which is very frustrating. I can understand that it probably helps with a lot of spam as well, protect against a lot of spam, but it's very frustrating. So how
Yeah.
do you think, so that's really good. I think that's brilliant. You know, you're actually doing the hard work, which a lot of people don't do, and actually making interesting content. I mean, I haven't looked at it, but I've you know, seen some of your videos before when we were reviewing your site. So your content generally looks good. So I'd imagine it would be, how can you get them to sort of cross over and come to your website and take that next action? Do you think?
Well, I guess my strategy at the moment is purely just to focus on building the Instagram numbers and cultivating the audience within Instagram itself, because that's what Instagram wants. So kind of working within the confines of what Instagram want just for a while, and then, let's say I reach 500 followers or 1,000 followers in the next 6 months or something like that. Then what I can do is start putting stories up and saying, oh, by the way, I do in-person lessons or online lessons. Have you thought about checking out the website? And just trying to offer them give before sort of asking for anything in return, even if it is just a link click or something like that. Because at the end of the day, you want people to make their own minds up about you, and so you need to show enough of yourself in the first instance for them to be able to do that.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't see why. Would it be possible for you to add a sort of call to action like that at the end of your little tips? So you say, if you like that and you want to learn more, come over to our website, and I've got a whole academy for doing this, and actually having a very short little pitch, much better than what I just gave, but a very short little pitch at the end, a couple of seconds, that you can have as a little sign off that isn't intrusive. And I think that's the key thing. I think what a lot of people don't like when they certainly on YouTube, I've seen this, you get they're used to seeing a lot of free content, consuming a lot of free content. Then it suddenly starts to get commercial and overly commercial as they're trying to sort of eke the money out of it. And I think people don't like that. Whereas if you're starting off like that and saying, look, I'm going to keep giving you these free tips. So actually, you know what, if you were to watch these reels, you were to actually practice everything I do, you could get all this for free. And for some very motivated people, that's going to be great. But most people aren't. They're going to need someone. It's like going to the gym. Anyone can do exercise whenever they want, but it helps to have someone who's sort of beasting you a little bit and pushing you forward and really telling you
Yeah.
where you can improve. And I think, maybe it might be worth just experimenting with a short little sign off at the end, just to start encouraging people to
Very
move forward.
specific kind of question, because at the moment my call to action at the end of the little clips is, and for more like this, follow me here on Instagram. Do you think if I said, uh, and if you're interested in, see, that sounds, if you're interested in lessons, would you like something, would
Well,
you like to
no,
check out
mate.
the website?
What about, so if
How would
for more like this, follow me on. I've got tips like this. Follow me on Instagram. But if you want to take it to the next level, get in touch to join my guitar academy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And it's you're not selling it. You're just offering it. You're saying, if they want, if that's where they're heading, you've got something for them. I don't see any problem with that. What I think would be more of an issue for people is if you were to suddenly, in between your reels, then start doing sales reels in between, where you're just doing that. I think always as a sign off, then it's never an issue for people. But as with all marketing, you've got to experiment, see what works with your audience, because I don't know your audience. I don't know how they're going to respond. I mean, I guess you could look at other people's Instagrams, I'm sure you have, to see what they're doing, what works well, what gets the engagement, what doesn't get the engagement, and then make your judgment on that. But I would imagine just the soft sell a little bit, that if people want to take it a little bit further, then you're open. But I certainly wouldn't be shy about saying that you can help them do that. Definitely.
Okay, cool.
But that's great. You're basically doing the hard bit now. So well done. It's really good. Are you using that video elsewhere? Are you going to put those reels onto Instagram to make them shorts, or TikTok even, or are you just going to keep it on Instagram?
Yeah, obviously this is something I've considered. I mean, when I start, so at the moment they get posted to Instagram, and then they also get the automatic crossover to Facebook,
That's
which,
right. Yeah.
yeah, and then also I have a Bath beginner guitar players Facebook group, and I put those same videos in there as well,
Brilliant.
for the time being.
So you
I
run that
was
group, do you?
Yes, I was
Yeah,
I
excellent.
was I was putting them on YouTube as well in the beginning, and that just kind of fizzled out I think Instagram started to get a little bit of traction. I got excited about that, and so I focused more on that because I was trying to, I guess, just instinctively focusing on what was working. So.
Well, the benefit of putting them on certainly YouTube is that it can still act from an SEO perspective, because YouTube
Okay.
Shorts are effectively Reels, and they all come from TikTok. I mean, TikTok's the sort of style that spurned all of this, but YouTube Shorts and Reels are very similar to that. But the benefit with YouTube Shorts is they are still YouTube videos. So they still have their own URL, and they still have a description, which you can have a link through to your website on there. And they can still be discovered in the YouTube app or the YouTube website. So if someone were to go to YouTube, then they can discover a short, so like guitar tips, or, you know, some kind of, I don't know the terminology in guitar, but if there's a specific thing, noodling point that people wanted to learn about, you've got a potential of it coming up in there. Whereas that there may be less opportunity for that in Instagram. It's more about keeping you front of mind with people. But on YouTube, you've got that sort of second look where those videos are hanging around for longer and might benefit your search optimization.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly would give it a try. And it's a little bit extra effort because you have to take that video you created and then put it into YouTube Shorts. But I think it's worth doing. Definitely. You may even be able to find some automation that can do it for you. So anything like, I don't know if you've played with If This Then That. We use that automation tool at all?
If this then that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, it's ifttt.com. Let me see if I can bring it up. So it's a way of allowing people to say, if something happens in this system, Instagram, like I make a new post, then do something in another system, like take the content from that and put it elsewhere. I've not tried it for this specific use case, so it might not work, but it's worth a go.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. So would this upload to you? Yeah. Okay,
so it should upload it to you, because you connect it to your Instagram, you connect it to your YouTube, and I haven't tried it, but it will certainly connect to both of those. Hopefully you can take that Instagram video and post it onto YouTube automatically.
So when you post on Instagram and it automatically goes to Facebook, I don't know. I'm not sure that Facebook reads it as important, because it hasn't been. I know they're owned by the same company, but because it hasn't been uploaded natively to Facebook, does that affect its performance? Because the Instagram's doing well, and then the same video on Facebook maybe not so much. But I don't know whether that's just more to do with the behavior on people on Facebook as opposed to Instagram.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. I'm not so intimately involved with that. I think, as I said before we started recording, I'm in terms of holistic marketing and how social fits into that. Yeah, I really like that, and it's definitely got a part to play. But in terms of the details, I'm not sure. You are probably right. Usually, platforms prefer native posting, so they much prefer you to put video on their platform, not linked to a YouTube video. So it might do. Yeah, I don't know. You could experiment with that. You could try it. Maybe rather than just cross-posting everything, you say for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to not cross-post. I'm just going to manually post and see if I get more engagement. If you do, it might be worth doing.
And that leads me to the question about IFTTT. Is I'm only assuming that uploads things as if it were native to that platform. Because I know that like Hootsuite or something like that would post it via Hootsuite, and again, I just don't know whether that affects performance in some ways. It's a weird old.
It would be flagged as such. I mean, YouTube certainly would know it's not natively uploaded by their front end, by their app or their website. However, it may not matter from an SEO perspective.
Okay.
From the algorithm and being discovered because you're the latest content and being shown as a sort of the latest short, potentially. But for what I would want it for, if I were doing this with you, is I want those videos to hang around a long time, be indexed fully by Google, and be available to anyone searching for that online, whether it's YouTube or Google. So from that perspective, it'd probably be fine. But I don't know if this and that would do it for you. But it's certainly worth investigating that tool. It's really
it looks really useful.
Yeah, I mean, it's useful in different ways. In fact, I was just experimenting for another client, and we could use If This Then That to look at a new post in Instagram, and you can even restrict it based on a tag you put in there. So a new post in Instagram, and then posting that onto WordPress. So you can actually sort of back post information onto WordPress. The only thing I couldn't get it to do is actually insert the image. It would insert all the content, but it wouldn't take the image and insert it into their WordPress website. But it was certainly, it's quite an interesting thing to experiment with.
Mm.
However, like you're doing something which is great, producing regular, helpful content that hopefully people find remarkable and interesting. I think if you can just share that with more people, why not? As long as, if it's working on Instagram, why wouldn't it work on other platforms as well? And then you can treat those platforms as just a way of finding the people where they are. Maybe a slightly younger, different crowd on TikTok to what you're going to find on Instagram. But certainly stick with Instagram for the moment. I think what you're doing sounds brilliant. Maybe you could have some crossover. Actually, you might be able to get some other people in your musician teachers sort of network that you're building up. It might be that you occasionally have a bit of a crossover, and you can get a video featured with one of the other teachers on there as well, and vice versa. So you can start to grow your audiences that way. And that means they're going to share your video on their channel to their audience, so more people see it, and vice versa. I think it's just leveraging that partnership so they are sharing it for you, and you're not having just to wait for people to come in. Could be really cool. Should we take a little walk around your website?
Let's do it.
So when we had the SEO workshop, yours website was one of the ones we looked at. I thought it was really nice. It's very clean, very simple. You've got this video at the beginning, right at the top, which I love. And it kind of says what it does, which is simple, but it works. And I like that. And I always recommend that where possible, you try and say upfront what you do to help people, or you try and put in the words that people might be searching for. So we've got Guitar Academy. And so people can see what you do. So that's ideal. Got a little video here. I might need to just mute that. There we go. So we've got this little video of you playing, and then I think you do a bit of, there's this little intro from you, and then you talk through basically how you work. I really like the style of it. It's well done, well produced, looks good, and hopefully it's engaging for people. Do many people comment on the video here?
I don't have a way for them to specifically comment on this video, if that's what you mean in the digital sense.
Well, no, just letting you
also,
know, so people who start working with you, or you talk
actually,
to.
no one's really mentioned it, which is what it is. Maybe they saw it. Maybe it's down to me to ask them. Still getting into that habit of saying, "Oh, how did you find me? And what did you think of the website? What did you think of this?" and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and it's a good habit, and often people are happy to help you, understand that, and I think people find that interesting. Certainly, when I've asked people, they find it quite interesting to know that. But I like the style of the video. I like the fact you've got it at the top, which is really, really good. And then you haven't got a big wall of text. You've got this nice sort of 2-column layout here of questions. I think you've got a nice style here. How did you get to this style? Because I personally wouldn't adjust a lot of this visually. I think it looks really good. How did you sort of get to this style?
The website's been through a few permutations. I mean, how did I get here? I mean, initially, it had like a black bar at the top, and I wasn't happy with that, so I dropped the black bar and I tried to make. I wanted it to feel open and airy and a bit light, because I just wanted it to feel sort of welcoming. You don't want to go onto a website and go because there is quite a bit of text on it. But I think for the right person, that text is applicable. And again, that's why I sort of put a video in, because I've got a bit of YouTube experience. I thought, well, it makes sense. I've got to put a video in there, because then they get to physically see and hear who this guitar teacher is. And I don't know, it was just a little bit at a time. It didn't look as good as this. I mean, initially I started out with a template, and then I just kept adjusting and adjusting. Oh, we've got a bit of off text there. We could do with fixing that. Always happens, doesn't it? You go into
Don't worry,
it
it happens all the time for me.
and it was just incremental improvements, little bits here, little bits there, and I still go into it maybe once a week and improve something or notice something, or I'll pop up the website on my phone and I'll go, oh, that doesn't look right, because the mobile version is always looking slightly different to the desktop version, so I have to make adjustments.
And what was this built in? Was it Wix?
This was all built in Wix, and yeah, it's impressive. I remember that the first time I attempted to build a website, and I do mean attempted, was back in 2012, and it was all code, and I think, was I using WordPress, but I had to use code as well, and I had to I can't even remember now, but it didn't look.
Oh,
It
the
just
good old days.
the good old days, yeah. And trying to make a website look nice then was absolutely impossible
Very
unless you
hard.
really knew your coding.
Yeah.
Or you have a lot of money and you could just pay somebody. But as the years have gone on and things like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, and themes and all of these kind of things have come into play, I just find it really easy now. It's just dragging and dropping things, and of course, you do sort of you develop an eye for it. You develop a creative eye for it. The spacings between the words that don't look quite right. Certain fonts that you don't want too many fonts on your page. You want one or two really that work well together and look okay
Yeah.
and look
And
smooth.
also grabbing attention. So you're using different font sizes to sort of draw attention to things. So really big title here, so people are definitely going to read that. But then they might skim. Oh, and then they get to this bit, 3 steps. They're going to read these. And you're using
And of
different
course,
styles to draw attention.
looking at other websites as well. Looking at how other people do it, seeing what they're getting right, seeing what they're getting wrong.
I like this. This is great. This is what I'm going to give you. Although I had to think about this. CG, I was like, oh yeah, it's your company. But it took me a little while to think what was the what was that reference? Is a bit of software. But I like that. This is what I give you. This is what YouTube doesn't give you. Yeah, and your testimonials here. I think generally speaking, I wouldn't probably adjust like the layout and what you've got on your site. It's really good. Yeah, maybe nice to have some video testimonials on there, but that's always difficult to have. Potentially linking to, if you were to bring your reels over and maybe put them onto your website, having a link to some of them on here and say, look, if you just want some free tips, sign up to Instagram or have a look at our blog and go through them here. But usually with a website, I'm looking at it from a search engine optimization point of view. What can we do to improve it to get more people coming through on a certain keyword? So with that in mind, what keyword would you like people to land or to type in to get onto your site? What are you hoping that they're going to type in?
Guitar lessons in Bath, guitar teacher in Bath, online guitar teacher would be kind of
Okay,
my
so
approximate
let's have a
keyword.
look. What I like doing is doing a find. So if I'm on a Mac, so it's Command F. If you're on a PC, it'll be Control F, and it just brings up a little search box in the top right, usually of your browser. So now we can put in exactly that phrase. So guitar lessons Bath. So we put in the first phrase you mentioned. It's not found on the page.
Okay.
So we do have it up in the title here. It says Carrington Guitar Academy Bath. So we've got guitar and Bath, which is good. So we've got a part keyword in there, which is good. What we don't have is lessons in the title. So that might be quite good. And the title here, the bit you see up in the tab of Safari is where the title is. And that's the key bit that's shown in Google. So if someone's searching for it, that's one of the first things they see. So I definitely start to include lessons there. So it could be Carrington Guitar Academy and then a pipe, guitar lessons, Bath, UK, or guitar lessons pipe, Bath, UK, if you wanted to fit that in. But it should fit in. And then you're repeating guitar again. But guitar lessons doesn't come up anywhere in here at all. And what I would do, if you can, is I often try and get the main keyword into this header here, if you can. That maybe you actually want Carrington Guitar Academy as the title there, because your logo doesn't say it just says the CGA. So maybe you do want that. But there are ways of having where you can have the keyword on the page, but just alter the sizes so it feels it's in the right place and it's structured correctly, but we can adjust the sizes to make it feel right. So it might be that you have welcome to Carrington Guitar Academy, slightly smaller. So it's not H1, slightly smaller, and then guitar lessons Bath, but maybe adding some text around that. So I'm just trying to think how we can work it into what we've got here, helping new guitars conquer their goals with these. So you probably want to keep that. So it would be good to try and wangling guitar lessons Bath into a H1 in between there somewhere.
What
If you
about
can.
this is a bit cheeky, but
Or
what about
guitar
just having it?
lessons, just
What about
guitar
just
lessons.
white text that wasn't visible?
Don't do that.
Okay,
Don't do
that's
that.
frowned upon, is it?
It's frowned upon. Google may not like it. just have it small. So you could just have it above. So if you want to keep welcome to Carrington Guitar Academy, or I just go with Carrington Guitar Academy. In fact, let's see if we can try this. Let's see if I can order it how we want. So firstly, let me have a look here. So Carrington Guitar Academy isn't a H1, so that's fine. And H1 is just it's a type of heading. I don't know if I can't remember. I haven't used Wix for a long time, but maybe that should be very visible in Wix to be able to see that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this HTML and I'm going to try and paste it in. I'll just paste it here. So let's just put that above there. Try and find, I can't put it in the right place. There we go. So I'm just putting a bit of text there. It's a H3. So what I'd actually want to do is make that H1 because it's the most important bit of text. And we change that to be, it's got lots of rubbish in here. You wouldn't really want all that rubbish. So we want it to be guitar lessons in Bath and online. So something like that. Let's spell that correctly. There we go. I don't know. Oh, it's got E's in. Let's take that off. So that's not centered, but you'd want that centered.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's small. So we'd make that H1. And that's actually great because it's kept it H1. But because the font size has been set as small, it's kept it small, which is great. And then with Carrington Guitar Academy, I'll just actually get rid of welcome to. Because then it's more of a statement. It's like Carrington Guitar Academy, helping new guitarists conquer their goals with ease. And then you've got guitar lessons in Bath and online above it. So that's small, but it's actually the most important bit of text. This is big because it's your brand. So you want people to see it. And that way we then get guitar lessons. It's not Bath, but in Bath is good enough. And we've got online there. So we've got the benefit of both. So maybe this can say Carrington Guitar Academy, guitar lessons online and in Bath or something like that. It might be a bit long, so you might have to experiment with that.
Okay.
So that's one thing I would do just to get that in. And then I would just try and work in guitar lessons into the copy. Let's see if we've got it elsewhere. Let's see what else we've got. So we've got 4 times. Well, that's 1 included there. So we have 3 times before. So I'd try and get guitar lessons or variations of that on the page more and talk about the area as well. And often it's a good idea to sort of do that in testimonials. So that's great. Brilliant. 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 Okay, so you're going to have Bath on there a few times. Online students, you've already done it. You've already done what you needed to do. So that's brilliant. Maybe just mention somewhere else online and in terms of where you can do it, where you can work with you. But I think primarily at the top there, thinking about this title and this section here, because then it's got the keyword people were looking for in there, but it's got your brand in there as well. Just before we finish off, let's have a quick look at the blog, because actually I think your homepage is pretty good, and you just a few tweaks like that to really make sure it's got
Google isn't indexing almost all of my blog pages, and I don't know why.
It isn't.
Nope.
Okay.
And it keeps flagging.
How do you know it's not indexing them?
It sends me emails telling me to fix it, and I go to Search Console to fix it, and then I think there's a couple of them that are indexed, but Wix has just introduced its own SEO tool as of like yesterday, which is really well timed. I dived into it and I saw that a lot of them weren't indexed, and I'm not sure why. Frustrating after doing 18 posts or whatever. But yeah. So obviously,
okay. So that needs looking into, and it usually does explain. Sometimes a bit of technical language, but Google Search Console usually does explain why it's not indexing them. So if you can figure out why it's not indexing them, so at least you know that Google's got them in the database.
Well, actually, there were a lot of issues that this new SEO tool flagged up. So, for instance, none of the very few of my images had alt text, which I wasn't really aware of that until yesterday. So I've been putting the alt text in and making
Brilliant.
sure that it's relevant to the post and the picture and this kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and actually sling in a few keywords as well, if that's possible. With don't overdo it. But if you can put in the keywords to do with guitar lessons, Bath online, and so on, or it doesn't have to be Bath; it could be surrounding areas, it could be
Yeah.
Wiltshire or Bristol, Cotswolds, anything like that around the area would be great as well. Well, hopefully their tool will help with that. Once you do get access to that, then if I load one of these up, sometimes with Wix it takes a little time because it's reloading in the background. There we go, and you will get there. So this looks like a nice long article. Are you then linking through to the homepage on here? You have, so what have we got this? We've got a link here, common mistakes. That links through to another blog post. Great. That's really good. So that's linking through to your homepage. Yeah, I mean, you could either link this or you link that. Yeah, that's good. But the fact is you're linking it. I would just possibly make this a bit bolder, your call to action, and maybe actually have it somewhere here, just underneath. Don't be shy of that. You're not getting it in people's faces. There's not a pop-up that's sort of taken over the whole screen so they can't see anything else. It's just at the end. It's like, if you enjoyed this, then maybe you enjoy my lessons. And I think you might be able to come up with a call to action that you can pretty much copy and paste onto the bottom of every blog post, but maybe tweak it depending on the context of what you're talking about.
Okay.
Maybe it could be something that's very similar to the end of your reels that you do, but that would be good. But at least you've got a link here, which is important. That's great. And you seem to have some nice long articles here. 10 reasons you should learn guitar. Brilliant. So if you can get that, if you can get them being indexed, that would really help. Definitely.
Yeah, that's something I'll be working on over this next week, I think.
Yeah. There's a useful tool I was just going to recommend actually before we finish, which you might like. I don't know if we talked about it during the other workshop. It's called Text Optimizer. Do you remember that one?
No, I don't. Let me write it down.
What you can do, if I just copy in your homepage, and you can do this for any page on your site, it's got to be public. So you could do it for your blog post as well. But what it can do, if I analyze yours, what it will do is it'll look at the text and give you two things. It'll tell you, A, are you hitting the right topic buckets? Because Google really is going to look at your pages in topic buckets. So it's going to bring those up, which are here. So we can see that your page is about guitar lessons, playing guitar and guitar playing. Well, I'd say that's pretty much on board. There are a list of topics that you can get that Google will understand. And it might be that you want to work towards one of those, but I think you're doing really well there. What it gives you on the right-hand side here is other words that you haven't included that you could include that are similar to your content. So it's going to maybe allow you to get in the words guitar or words that are within that same topic onto the page. And it may be things you haven't thought about. It may actually give you a whole new section that you could write about. So it's a really useful tool for that. And you can use it for all of your blog posts as well. And you go, actually, yeah, I didn't talk about this. Or maybe I've repeated this word a few times. Maybe I can just swap that over and make it a bit more interesting by phrasing it in a different way. So this can be really useful. Sometimes you can look at this and say, actually, what would be best is if I include mention of these in an FAQ. So you can have a little FAQ about how you work and, why people want, pitfalls people have when they're playing the guitar or so on. One thing I didn't know, actually, and then we will finish, is whether you had links to your blog posts on the homepage.
No. Are you thinking of a little carousel or something like that, maybe?
I would possibly. You've got lots of useful information here. I wonder if you can pick some of it out to either link through to your blog posts or maybe just pick out 3 of the key blog posts. This is basically, it could be under your call to action here. So under this, book your free or trial lesson, you could then have and say, well, if you're not ready yet for a lesson, these are some free resources that I've got that are going to help you. And it's almost a way of nurturing them. It's like, well, they're not ready yet, but I still want them to take some kind of action. So maybe having some resources down below could be useful.
I have one specific question.
Go for it.
I have a different landing page to this one, which is for kids guitar lessons. And the question is, so when I did the flyers for the lessons, the link that I put on the front side, I've got a hyphen because it's carringtonguitaracademy.com/guitar hyphen ninjas. And then on the other side, there's no hyphen. And so what I did is I replicated the same web page with one with a hyphen, one without a hyphen. How does Google view that replicated?
Oh, so if we do that now, so is it Academy Ninjas?
.com/guitar ninjas. So then I have a page the same as this that doesn't have the hyphen in the URL slug, and so I wonder how Google views
like that.
Just guitar ninjas without the hyphen.
Oh, so you've got two
of the same one, but they're not the same page. They're, it's not like well, you can see that they're separate pages, and I just wonder how Google views that.
Well, they're separate pages, but are they the same content?
Exactly, yeah, exactly the same content.
Yeah, so Google would consider that duplicate content, which it just means that Google's likely to pick which one it wants to display.
Okay, so it doesn't that's not going to affect rankings or anything like that, or
no, you just don't know which was going to rank. So what okay. I would do is I would delete one and have a redirection from one page to the other. So guitar ninjas, I think would be good because it's readable. But it's up to you. You pick one of them, the one you prefer, and then delete the other one and put a redirect in place. I can't remember how you do that in Wix, but Wix do have extensive support, so I'm sure you could find it.
Yeah, I can look at that Wix redirect.
And so you want to redirect the old one, which is Guitar Ninjas, to the Guitar Ninjas, and then you've just got the one page. Yeah, definitely, I would do that.
All right.
Yeah, it's always good to keep your site nice and clean and really have minimum amount of duplicate content. Sometimes it's necessary, and that if you needed to do it for a certain reason, there are ways around it. I won't go into them now because it's not relevant for you, but there are definitely ways of managing that. But yeah, I would absolutely do it. Well, cool. I mean, you've got a great site, by the way. It looks really nice. I think you're generally there. I think you just need to, from my perspective, if I were sort of working with you on this, I would just want to push a little bit harder on your reels and just get a little bit of a call to action at the end, just a small amount, not heavily into sales, not a big long spiel at the end, but a little bit. And I would also want to reuse those videos, at least on YouTube, and then make sure they have a link back to your website. I think that would be really beneficial. Next stage on is then to try and get those reels onto your blog as well. And then just on your homepage, just trying to get the actual keywords that people are searching for. So guitar lessons online, guitar lessons Bath, actually on the page, at the very least, would be really helpful. But I think, you've done a lot of the hard work. So these are really the icing on the top that will really help. And partnerships, I wish you luck with that. I think that's brilliant. Do more of that. Working with partnerships is going to make your life easier ongoing. And I'm sure the partners you're with will benefit from referrals you give them as well. So yes. Yeah. I think it's brilliant. Thanks very much for coming on, Aaron. Best place for people to find you, would it be you follow me on Instagram or come to the website? What would you recommend? Where's the best place?
If you are interested in lessons and you want to know more about me, go to the website carringtonguitaracademy.com. If you want to see my daily Instagram tips, it's instagram.com/Carrington Guitar Academy.
Brilliant. We'll make sure all of those links are on our blog post when this goes out. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Just to let people know what's coming up next week, I'm going to be talking about Keynote. I use Keynote a lot to create presentations for in-person presentations, but also a lot of stuff that I do on Zoom as well. We're also using Keynote to create a presentation for our 100th episode. So maybe some of the tips and tricks that I'm using in that will creep in as well. But I love Keynote. I think it's a great tool and it's underused. Certainly, if you have a Mac, you should be using, and you want to create videos, you should be using Keynote for some of that at least. So yeah, I'm going to be talking through how easy it is to make an engaging presentation, giving you a bit of a walkthrough, and then some tips to really help capture people's attention. Hopefully you're going to like that. I certainly love Keynote, so I want to share some of that with you. We're here every Friday from 10 a.m. If you have a question or you want to be a guest, get in touch with us, support@ratherinventive.com. And remember, all of the episodes are available on ratherinventive.com/club. That's ratherinventive.com/club. And if you're seeing this and you're not a member and you want to sign up, you can get a free trial on there for 30 days. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks, Aaron, for joining us, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.